Hello, you beautiful bunch. Just trying to make myself look a little bit more presentable than I have done. So I am currently in a roadside cafe. So if you can hear background noise, I apologise. But at least we've got internet today, which is a big step forwards compared to last week. So first and foremost, I want to give a huge apologies to each and every one of you that were patiently waiting for David and I last week. My reception just wouldn't work. Unfortunately, I ended up having to cancel all of my calls last week. Because the Wi-Fi was so bad in the hotel. I could only last about 6-7 minutes, and my data, I physically couldn't get connected to my phone. Thankfully, I've got Rick to validate that. He came for breakfast with us on Tuesday, and he was like, "What's going on? I can't even, I've got no phone signal." So that's kind of where we are at the moment. So huge apologies for last week. We didn't get time to film anything else. We had a lot go on. Obviously, I was hot off the back of Soul School, which I'm going to talk about a little bit more shortly. And then we are going to be talking about activating your inner wisdom today, because a lot of you are in a place right now whereby you're remembering things and you're like, I don't know why, but all of a sudden I know what this is meaning. Now, guys, can you just pop a comment in the comments for me? Because I'm not sure things are well. Oh, thanks, Jason. Thank you. It's always like your intuition, you, my friend. And yeah, if you can just keep commenting and sharing with people, because I haven't put it in any of my groups or anything like that today because I've been on the road all day. Hello. It's lovely to have you guys on. It's good to be back with you. I went AWOL, unfortunately. There's not a lot I can do about it. So can you guys hear okay? Because there's a lot of background noise here. Can you guys just let me know you can hear all right? How's everyone feeling that came to Soul School? Have you all recovered? I was a bloody mess this time last week, in all honesty. High five, it's good. Okay, cool. Amazing. So we're going to keep this relatively short tonight because, like I say, we are on the road home and I have got to get back for calls that I'm doing. Hi, Costa Blanca. How are you? Hope you're well. Are they smashing up the tables? It sounds like that, doesn't it? Yeah, that's for the head cold. Oh, has Amber got a head cold? That's because she came to Soul School and she's been purging like an absolute MF. I'm glad you can hear it okay. These days I speak such wide word to people, often explaining people's behaviour. What comes out shocks me. Yes, there we go. It's from the inner wisdom. We're tapping into our inner wisdom in a big way, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more. David's been getting some, insights into intuition and stuff that he didn't used to get. So it's going to be nice to be able to hear that. Amber, I love it. Well, what's interesting is David is riddled with cold at the moment, and I'm fighting it at the moment. So hopefully, fingers crossed, I'm not taking that choice. So Jason, bigger for you for choosing that. You going to join us?
Yep. Coming.
He's like, I'm just going to make a call. I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to do that. I'm like, hello, we've got a video.
I'm here. I was just finishing an email, guys. Can I just do that? And do that so we can both get in. Hey, everybody. I hope you can hear us okay. It's a bit echoey in here. We've been, all over Andalusia today, and we're still not home, so we pulled over in yet another glamorous roadside cafe location just to have a little chat. And Lucy opened one of her birthday presents.
I found them in my handbag and I'm like, hey, what?
Strawberry milkshake bottles. They're delicious. There's 2 left, 3 left. I don't want them. So what are we talking about today?
Well, before we do that, because you're a mugger for doing that, let's have a little chat.
What do you want to talk about?
Well, because they didn't see us last week, did they? So I think we owe them a bit of an explanation as to...
Where were we last week? I don't remember.
We were in Manchester and the reception's dire. Do you remember? We got cut off after about 7 minutes.
We're in a hotel?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, I remember now. Yeah, we're in a hotel, kept fading in and out. So sometimes you've got to listen to the signs and take that as a sign we're not supposed to be doing it. So we went like that. So we've got quite a bit of catching up to do. Can we not blend what we were going to talk about with what we are going to talk about?
I don't remember what we were going to talk about. Can you? If I look at my phone, I'll be able to remember.
She's caught. Well, you can have a chat about that, and maybe you can find out what we were doing before. Anyway, so Manchester. So where have we been since Manchester in a week?
Should we talk a little bit about Soul School? Because you made an appearance, didn't you? Which was nice.
Only for a couple of hours.
Yeah, but it was still nice. What did you feel about it? like the venue. What did you think when you walked in?
Venue was beautiful. You had it lit up amazingly. Very nice energy. It's a weird one because it's a big converted like cathedral, church-looking place, monastery. I suppose cathedral is a bit excessive in size, but it's a beautiful venue. All the LED lights were all different colours. You had pinks, you had greens, you had oranges, depending on what you talk about. The stage was good. Microphones were good.
Although yours annoyed you, didn't it?
Yeah, she gave me one of these, because I had such a bad chest, I kept trying to cover it up, coughing and sneezing, but I kept taking it off. I prefer handheld, so you can just do that, because I'm often saying things that I don't want the crowd to say, like, look at the state of him, how did he get past security?
Which is what we said about him the whole time he was there. But you know what, like, yeah, do you not want to show that, babe?
0-0 beer.
But he's drinking it out of a wine glass.
Yes, you've got a sophisticated.
Whereas I've got a mint tea, my loves. I've got a mint tea. So the venue was great. It was good to have you there. It was beautiful. Having the connections, the vibration of the place was pretty cool, wasn't it? It was nice.
I think what was more impressive for me was the feedback and the emails you've been getting for people. So all of the breakthroughs that Lucy was helping them
Let's
with.
not make me cry. He doesn't like it when I cry.
I'm pissed off at all you. She's just crying all week. Every email she opens up, she just cries. Here we go, you know. It's like living with a teenager. I just...
You know, because someone's clearly not in touch with their emotions, and I am.
I'm in touch.
And I'm expressing, and I'm loving, and it's good to cry.
It was an impressive venue and impressive feedback, guys. So
he told me off on Monday. He was like, for God's sake, Lucy, I don't know if I said this last week, but I was on present number 2 of about what?
30?
If not more.
Maybe 40?
And literally I was on present number 2, and he was like, Lucy, like, because I was bawling my eyes, like, he was like, Lucy, for God's sake, how long is this going to take you to get through it? It took me a while, didn't it?
Yeah, and we've actually, some of the gifts we've used, we got a key ring from Connemara, which I've used straight away. We've got keys to our other place on that. That's good. So we've been using them. There's some signs and loads of candles. Got some really cool gifts. You got a coconut. This is my favorite. Well, one of my favorites was a coconut, like the proper coconut that you'd see at a fair. You know, you throw a ball at. Just the round husk, filled with a wax candle from Vietnam. So I thought that was a great idea. Just a
very
really
thoughtful, considering Vietnam is such a dear place to me. Coconuts are so dear to me, you know. And it's like a soy candle or like whatever, which, you know, is slightly better for you than the other stuff. So yeah, it's very thoughtful. And we got a beautiful book, didn't we?
Yeah, we got a book where we have to put pictures of our journey together in. And I was expecting it already made. I was like, oh, it'd be nice to see what pictures it got. And I opened it. There's nothing in there. I thought, oh, I get it. We have to do it ourselves.
But I want to question why he's getting presents on my day. That's what I want to know the answer to.
We now get emails, Lucy and David and Lucy. Hey, Mahoney, tell Lucy I said hello, vice versa. So we seem to have blended into one.
We're now...
What would be called?
Davsy.
Davsy?
No,
that sounds very Welsh.
Davsy, or what else could it be?
You know, I'm looking out the window here. Livid. I'm looking out the window and we're in the heart of Andalusia, and all I can see is mountains and olive trees.
And people smoking.
Beautiful part of the world. It's a nice warm sunny day, 18, 19 degrees. And we've done about 400 and something miles.
I haven't seen one of those little Renaults in ages either.
They'll all be rusted.
Cute.
They'll all be rusted away. Renault 5, that is.
Renault 5.
Be rusted away in Europe, but they don't rust in cars in Spain.
My friend had a Renault 5.
Hence my collection of classic cars. They don't rust. You'll get used to it, baby. Don't worry.
Anyway, moving on. So Soul School was amazing. Obviously, huge apologies that we couldn't jump on last week. It was just too challenging to even attempt to do it. Every time we cut off on YouTube, it means we basically need to set up a whole new video rather than just if the Zoom call drops off, we can just jump back on. So huge apologies about that. You've been busy anyway, haven't you? Doing lots of shows and doing other bits and pieces. You seem to be busy anyway.
Yeah, I've got at least 6 shows a week that I'm filming and recording and broadcasting. still getting my geopolitical truth message out, which is actually becoming more and more blended with the spiritual side as well. And another great chat with Dr. Judy Malkovich's team about co-production on some vital life-saving meds that we're going to do an international attack on, really, I think, because the good guys can't get them because the bad guys have said, no, you're not allowed to live without pain. So I'm excited about that. Judy's, actually, I just had a call. I hadn't a chance to tell you that, but her right-hand guy's been on my right-hand guy, so I'm happy about that. I'm happy to be back in Spain, but we're only back for a couple of days. Tomorrow we head off again. Are we allowed to say where we're going tomorrow? No. I'll give you a clue. We're not telling you.
Yeah, we're off somewhere tomorrow. We've been investigating places to do soul school in Europe, actually. Haven't we?
Yes, we've just looked at the venue today.
It's been exciting because everybody is on my case already about soul school, which David would probably like to tell you to give me a little bit of a break, just for a little bit of time.
You did that last time. You weren't even, you hadn't even unzipped your jacket.
Yeah, within a week we had it all set up for the next one.
Same with this one. It's not even cooled down a bit, and you're already talking about the next one.
Yeah, I know. I was actually going to say, let's not get him started on the meds, guys, because once he starts, it's yakety yak 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 yak. He'll be here all day. Maybe you should do a video on that one day on my channel. Yeah,
sure.
But not today.
Whatever,
you can have my channel without me being here. I trust him with it.
No,
he'll get me banned.
just go to mahoneylive.com. You can see everything there.
You can see everything there.
So we don't need to talk about it here.
No. So,
nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
Yeah.
Say no more. Excuse me 1 second.
Yeah, whilst he's just being gross, all the snottiness that's coming out. Anyway, so let's talk about. Oh, that went a bit weird then, didn't it? That light, that went ever so odd.
It's probably my large body.
So last week we were talking about transmuting trauma.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and this week we're talking about activating the inner wisdom. So I can't even remember what we were going to speak about. The transmutation of the trauma last week, but it was a very interesting time, wasn't it? The last couple of weeks have been very interesting from a trauma perspective.
Yeah, because the more that you get to understand trauma, the more that you see you have it. And you've been dealing with it and living with it, and probably, like everybody else, including myself, telling yourself that, everything's okay, you don't need to worry about that. But in actual fact, it affects so many different parts of your life and touches on all your relationships between family members, work members, strangers, if you work in customer care in the public field. Any of these little things can spark a little bit of trauma memory. Like I was in Brazil once, and I was with 2 US Navy SEALs. They've both seen 3 tours in Afghanistan and Iraq, and we were sitting in a shed, and a coconut fell on the roof. There was a large sort of restaurant. Coconut fell on the roof. Bang! These 2 guys immediately jumped under the table and started barricading themselves in. We're reaching. They weren't carrying, but they were reaching.
Did you copy them?
I copied them, yeah. We worked together.
I've heard this story.
So all 3 of us were sitting underneath these tables. We just pulled them all down, expecting, it was gunfire incoming. And the Brazilian guy saying, "Hey guys, what's the matter with you? You're very nervous. It's just a coconut falling on the roof."
It's actually a very, very good example very good example, because, I know we've got a lot of military people that watch this channel, and it's a really good example of how just a noise can create such a reaction within you. And sometimes it's very difficult for us to be like looking at our personal relationships with our parents or our siblings or our partners or anything like that and actually recognize the trauma, whereas that it's so easy for people to be able to grasp, because it's a loud bang. And we all get scared of bangs, don't we? It's very, very scary. Behave yourself.
No. Okay. I was thinking about when you were waiting outside the post.
Oh yeah, do you know what he did to me last week? Right, bearing in mind, I just, was I just on my way to sales school or on my way back?
On your way there.
I can't remember,
2
but
weeks
basically, I was in a state of bliss. I was just completely blissed out. And I'm in his car, minding my own business. He's just gone into the post office. So I think, right, I'm just going to get on with some work, connect with some people, really, really sort things out. And I'll quit here, comes out of the post office, sees that I'm completely engrossed and he's like, she is not going to look up. There is no way she's going to look up. So he goes to the top of the car and whacks it. So I feel like somebody's fallen out of the sky and landed on the top. So I'm like,
she really jumped.
He thought it was hilarious.
Oh man, it's tears. Because I only gave it a little tap, but it amplifies inside, you know, an SUV.
It wasn't. It was like he got up there and did a little dance, you know. It was really, really full on. And so, he does this all bloody time. But if I did it to him, he'd probably be hidden under something, you know.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Cover up war.
I would definitely be reaching for a weapon.
Yeah, so, I know, and throwing it at me probably.
Let's give him some other trauma cases. A smell, a different sound.
Yeah,
a smell, you know what? A lot of kids still have trauma because of food if they smell cabbage or broccoli cooking, you know, because you're not getting up from the table until you finish your vegetables. I mean, I still now eat every single thing on my plate, even though I feel bad if I have to leave it because I can't possibly put it in my stomach.
We're working on that though, aren't we?
Yeah, I suppose so. I don't have that much food and I wait for a second. But you know, you're at a buffet somewhere and you always go back. I don't go back for seconds. And at Christmas Day, I'll have one plate, that's it, and not go back. But it could be a smell, it could be a sound, it could be a song. I mean, I'm traumatized by a couple of songs. You know, that Dexy's Midnight Runners, Come On Eileen, I can't stand that song. Turn it off. Makes me reach straight away from it.
You play a track all the time that traumatizes me. He does. He plays it all the time because I've said, I'm really not good with this track. And stop it. It's just annoying. Like, it's just annoying.
Music is probably the first one, you know, growing up from great memories to bad memories. Oh, God, I remember drinking a whole bottle of Bacardi that night and I got hammered and that was a song and I remember. So all of these triggers, two key words here, trigger and trauma. What triggers your trauma? You got to deal with it. You got to face your fears, look at it straight down the barrel, straight in the eyes and say, okay, why does this make me feel so?
And go back to the source of it. That's the really important piece of it because it's very easy when you've like been in war or something like that to go, oh, well, that's obviously where my trauma with loud noises stemmed from. But, you know, when you're looking at relationships or certain behaviour patterns, we've got to go back to the start of them. And most people only scratch the surface. And, you know, they don't actually go back to where it originated from. So it's really important what you're saying. I like it a lot.
My older brother, he's about 56 now. If I played him the music from a children's show from the 70s called The Magic Roundabout, he would say, yeah, because it used to be played at 6:30, and that was bedtime when we were kids.
See, in my day, it was played at midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning when everyone's off their heads.
Yeah, they turned it into a trance track, didn't they? Na 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 na. Yeah, because it was
It was so weird, wasn't it? It was so weird.
The Magic Roundabout. Yeah.
Was it Masturbate and?
No.
What was that?
That was a sea shanty thing. I'll tell you what that is. Come back to me. So identify what triggers you. What would be a trigger for a smell for you? Good and bad. Name two.
Okay, petrol. I love it.
Yeah, don't know why.
I don't know why. I just love it. I think that moment when I first ever filled up my car, when I first passed my driving test, freedom. I just think that, I think I associate it with freedom, absolutely. And, you know, I know it's slightly different, but the pure diesel smell that you get on the aeroplanes, like for me, that is freedom. It's the epitome of me being able to do what I want to do. From a more negative perspective, it used to be there was an antibiotic medicine, because I used to have to take medicines quite a lot when I was a bit younger. And there was one of the medicines that used to, like, my mum used to open the bottle and I'd be like, ugh. And if I smelt it now, I'd do a runner. Freshly cut grass for me reminds me of carefree summer days as a kid. Love the smell of grass when they just cut it. Love it, love it, love it. Yes. Straight away, it's like, oh, that was great days. When the summertime, you were off school, you were free running around. And what makes me, I don't like the smell. I don't like the smell of cinnamon or the taste of cinnamon. He's so funny about cinnamon. I don't know why, actually. I don't know why. Cinnamon is something, maybe I was tricked into taking it, something or in a bottle or some form of, don't know, just don't like it. And in America, they put it on everything. You order a cappuccino, it comes with cinnamon. You've got to say, I want my steak and eggs or my scrambled eggs with no cinnamon, please. Don't put any cinnamon on my scrambled eggs, because they just put it on everything. Cinnamon flavored chewing gum, cereal, you know, deodorant, toothpaste.
You got
Someone
everything.
here is agreeing with you. Cinnamon is horrible.
Yeah, good
And
on you,
Lizzie,
Kay.
you're right. The yellow one, yeah, it was that one, and it used to be gross. Like it just was. I used to smell it. It was a whiff, and then all of a sudden,
Cod liver oil. My mother used to make me take that. Couldn't have a spoonful of that. Nah, she'd chase us around the house. And,
horrible, horrible.
so,
What else? Oh, I know what else. Liver, like liver and
Oh.
things like that, like that. Bleh.
I
Seriously, I got force fed that by an uncle of mine, and I can say it because he's no longer alive. When I was much younger, and I swear to God, I have never forgiven him for that. And whenever I even see it in the supermarket, I was in the supermarket getting something for you the other day, the steak and that, and there was this like offal, and I was it's just awful, you know. And as a veggie, like it's just awful to have to deal with that.
I ate some by accident in a Greek restaurant a couple of weeks ago in Germany. I ordered it like a mixed grill, and they gave me liver. But these are childish things. But then when you get into different things, like as you get into your teens, it could be, an embarrassing moment. It could be any of these things. Like a lot of people have issues with intimacy. Or they can only do it with the lights off, or they don't like to, certain single positions.
Sounds like me.
Or, they have to do it with the lights on, or they can't do it when there's somebody else in the house. So there's all sorts of weird things. Again, it's all trauma. So you're going to moving past that. I think I'm trying to think of something my friend experienced. Oh, here's one. My mother would never go to sleep without the light on.
Yeah,
She was
I only found that out a few minutes ago. That's really
80 years old, and she always slept with the light on. We all used to complain, why do you turn the lights off? What's the matter with you? She'd sleep with the lights on. So her whole life, scared of the dark.
Yeah, and that is trauma. That's deep-rooted trauma. Like a lot of kids are scared of the dark because they can see spirit and hear spirit, and they don't really know how to deal with spirit. But it's normally you can get kids to a certain age, and then they're happy to have the light off or whatever. But it's very rare, or at least for me, it's been very rare. That's the first person I've heard of, at that age, scared of turning the light off at night. Like that's, and it really actually made me feel quite sad, because she projected that she's a real confident lady, and then actually behind closed doors, she wasn't the confident person that she projected herself to be, which is, it saddens me because, this is a deep-rooted trauma. Something must have happened to her in the dark for her to fear, being able to sleep in the dark, which is just bizarre. Like, I'm a nightmare, unless it's dark and I'm warm and I'm flat, I can't sleep.
Or there's no screaming in the room.
Yeah.
Loud bang noises. We've been getting a lot of very supportive messages about our relationship. So once again, thank you very much. I always get nice messages. But one thing I thought was pretty interesting to talk about was, it seems like, we're the ideal couple, but we have these weird little things that we've noticed. For example, Lucy will come in and she'll say to me, what are you going to do today? I'll say, well, I don't know yet. Why do you want to know? What are you going to do today? I've got some stuff to do. We end up in this suspicious back and forth tennis match because we're both like not used to being able to answering to somebody like, where are you going today? I don't like, I'm going to do my own. What do you what? I don't like answering questions.
That's not true. You like a good question.
What?
You just don't like it if somebody puts you on the spot and asks you a question about you.
No, I don't
Let's be clear.
I don't like having to explain like why my decision. Well, why are you going to go over there? Because I've got to go over there. Oh, yeah, but why do you have to see him? It's like,
I think you're being a bit over-exaggerative now, but we get your point.
No, we come to loggerheads.
I think this needs to be done in a video whereby we talk about relationships, because
I'm leading to that.
But this isn't about relationships tonight, though. This is about your inner wisdom. But we'll go there anyway because you've started, so now we have to.
I know where I'm going with it. I'll give you.
Okay. But there are many different relationships that get together. Okay, putting two seriously independent people together isn't a bed of roses. Like, I'm very open about that. I've been very. I'm very open about things anyway, because it's...
Yeah, Caroline, David, you look about 10 years younger since you were Lucy. It's the makeup I put on before I shoot.
No, it's not. He just likes to nag because he feels he's losing his control, that's all. I get it. That's what's happening, At the end of the day, you put two fiercely independent people together that are also very well known.
Independent.
Independent,
I
right?
know South African, are we?
But I find it all fascinating. Like, you find it a bit more challenging, whereas I find it fascinating. I just think it's really interesting how different people react. And, like, I've got a couple on here that I'm working with, Amber and Jason. They're going through one of my programs at the moment. And it's fascinating. They got together, both military backgrounds. So they've obviously got their challenges of the traumas that they're carrying from that and their childhood. Whereas the lovely David seems to think that he's coping with his trauma. And of course I don't. I'm like, I see through this and no, Lucy, I'm not like the others. Oh, wow.
Are you embracing a non-binary status? What does that mean? I don't even know what that means.
Well, you love a good non-binary, don't you, babe?
These people,
Stop. I'm going to put my foot down.
I struggle with that, to keep my polite side when I get involved with that. No, where I'm going with the wisdom with that is, when you get into that situation, I try to imagine it a bit like driving a car. When you're driving a car or a bike, if you drive motorcycles, you'll understand. You got to look 5 or 6 cars down the road. Now I can, especially in Spain, because they're shit drivers, I can see what people are going to do. I'm going to say, watch this. So the guy will come to a roundabout and he'll just drive all over the place. And I'll say, look, if we were a little bit closer, he'd have smashed straight into us. It's like getting on a roundabout where there's a huge truck that's too big to go around it. You got to back off. So with these situations, when we get like this, I can say, okay, I know where this is going to go now. It's not going to go anywhere. So you got to defuse it. Use your wisdom and knowledge to back it off a bit and say, okay, what would you really like to know? So when you get into these confrontational situations and these situations where you are finding it traumatic, ask yourself, your inner wisdom, why is this situation? Why do I find it traumatic? Why do I not like that smell? Why is that triggered me?
Why do questions trigger me?
Yeah. I know why questions trigger me. It's always authority. What are you doing? Where are you? What's your name? What are you doing?
But of course.
Yeah,
I don't have trauma. I've dealt with it all. And it doesn't get inside my head.
No, I know where it is now.
He walked into that one so nicely, didn't he, ladies and gentlemen?
I haven't said I don't have trauma. I just identify it and I have to deal with it.
I love the way you stitch yourself up. I'm too good. Anyway, so let's talk about the inner wisdom element of this video, because what I'm having at the moment is a lot of people reaching out to me, and even you've said it too.
What?
I just feel like I know things. I just, my intuition is more on point, or I'm just picking up things a lot better, or, like I'll be talking about something and David will be like, this is the way that it is. And I'm like, wow, okay, cool. And because obviously I've been doing this quite a long time now, I just trust. And he might give me the most random information, but it's the truth. It is. Buckle up, mate. You're in for a wild ride.
It's already started. Don't worry. I think when that's going too far, you see, when you're using that intuition as far as some of the missions that we do, let's make it a bit easier. Like, I'll give you a good example. You walk into a place and you just get a weird feeling, and you'll turn around and you'll see a guy or a woman or somebody next to you, and then you just get, I say it's a nautical term, I'll give him a wide berth. Edgy energy. Now, I can tell straight, and we do this sometimes, we sit and say, what's his? Is that drugs or is that alcohol or is it both? You can see that hazy sort of aura of them. I can sense it rather than see it. And they're in some sort of substance abuse, whether it's drugs or whether it's alcohol, or what the story is. Bad food. I see a lot of people in the UK with this nutritional weird aura coming off them, like you just processed junk food, and they just have a particular look about them, how the skin is. And so I would say use your intuition as far as self-preservation.
But wisdom is so much more than intuition. Intuition is a really easy one for us to talk about because a lot of us are coming online now, but you've become very telepathic, right? Apart from when I need him to be telepathic, ladies, when you want the man to just get it and they just don't, he switches it off at that point. But he's extremely telepathic, aren't you? Sometimes it's quite scary what he can tap into with anybody. By the way, it's not just with me; it's with absolutely anybody. And so telepathy is coming back online massively. Psychic, becoming more psychic. A lot of people are messaging me and they're like, Lucy, I see this. Lucy, I see that happening. Isn't it? Every day I'm like, oh, babe, this is what someone's just said. And he's like, oh, who is that? I'm like, I don't know. No, no one I know. But their psychic ability is coming online. And there are so many different avenues for this. If you think about what we're going through at the moment, we're going through a mass awakening on the planet. Now, earlier on, I said to you, didn't I? I can't remember what I said, but it was about another shift. There's another awakening coming in. Oh, yeah, we probably won't talk about that, about religion.
Well, no, what about when the spike of the Earth thing happened?
The Schumann resonance.
Yeah, we were watching that last week, and Lucy noticed a couple of, well, we can't really tell her the whole story, but there was a certain spike, and then it dropped off, and a certain spike, and during those spikes, we got caught in incidences that were like, hey, that's very interesting. That happened then, it happened then.
Direct correlation to certain events that took place, and we can actually link it to the times in which the energy spikes were taking place. Now, I didn't observe that initially, but when on reflection we went back, didn't we? And I said, let's look at the times and let's look at the spikes that took place. So there's a lot of this taking place at the moment, and there's no way out of this, ladies and gents. The world is waking up, and I don't mean waking up to the truth, waking up to the truth movement, about President Trump and the stuff that he normally talks about. I'm not talking about that. I mean, we've got a consciousness shift taking place. There is a spiritual awakening happening on the planet, which is why David is now saying, my work is going a bit more spiritual, because of course by default it has to. If that world wants to stay alive, and I've been saying this to you for a while now, if that world, the truth community, wants to stay alive, they have to go into the spiritual world. Otherwise, nobody's going to want to pay attention anymore.
Well, yeah, but they are linked as well. They're both correlated, and I'll tell you why. So for years and years and years, we all believed what we were seeing through the mainstream media. But over the last 2.5 years, so many more people have questioned and said, hang on a second, that doesn't feel right to me. I think that's BS. So what they've done is they've started at a little tiny point, and then they get to the next one, and then there's a jump. Oh, what was that? Because they're waking up to what's truthful, but that's also putting them in a situation where it's raising their consciousness, because they're saying, hang on, I'm not going to think about this anymore. I'm going to feel about it. What do I feel about this? Not what do I think? And it's something small, again, throwing a tiny little stone in a pond creates a ripple. And the more and more people that get questioned about the narrative and how we're supposed to be living our lives. Do you really think that we're supposed to be getting up 9 to 5, job every day, paying the bills, living mortgage debts, stressed out? Do you really feel that that is exactly what you're supposed to be doing on the planet? All of you watching this will say, absolutely not. But at some point, you guys all came to the same conclusion. Hang on a second. This doesn't feel right. And that's why I think what I do is a direct link into this, because as people wake up to the truth about what we've been lied to about, including our whole purpose, what we're supposed to be doing here, leads us all to a mass awakening. The consciousness level rises, and we get to a point, rises again, keeps on going.
Yeah.
So without me,
I agree. Right? I was doing the consciousness, then I stepped into doing the truth, and left that early in 2021. Are you right there? I was just eating all the sweets.
Come on.
No, I don't want it. So I get what you're saying, but now I feel that we're at a period of time whereby it's the next round, if that makes sense. There's a whole new level of consciousness taking place. We have no choice. And I think I put this out in my weekly woo today. Like, we are rattling up so significantly now. Our physical bodies cannot adjust. They cannot work the way that they used to. Sorry about the phrase. They just can't, which is why some people are eating no food yet they're putting on weight. Some people are eating all the food yet they're losing weight. Some people's hair are falling out. Some people are getting spotty. Some people it's just all these weird things taking place, because we are literally ascending. When we talk about ascension, it's the planet is literally moving. It's not some process that we're just floating up, out into the ethers. We are literally, the planet is literally moving through the energies and shaking us. They're shaking us awake right now. It's the only way to explain it. We are literally being shaken to our cause to wake up now, because we have no choice but to elevate. We've gone too far. We can't go back. It's as simple as that. Like I'm not sure we've gone past the tipping point yet of the numbers. I just don't think we need that many people to shift the consciousness anymore. I used to think it would be like, we need to get it over 50%. I just don't believe that anymore.
Well, there's small little tips as well. You'll see things like CNN tried to start another form of CNN, and it just never went anywhere. They closed it down after a few weeks, and it's because people are not watching it. People are, Charlie and myself and people like us reach more people than most of the news channels do, because people are just not doing it anymore. They're not following the regime, and they're not doing the same things as they used to do. There's an interesting comment there. I couldn't stomach watching the Super Bowl last night. Super Bowl is the epitome of mass hypnotism, because all they're going to be doing is, it's what the Romans used to do, put on gladiator shows for their masses and distract them with games and bread and wine. That would be it. Same thing with the Super Bowl.
And any of the sporting events, really, isn't it? Look at how the UK football was, around all the vaccines and stuff like that. Like, it was outrageous. As long as we can go to the game, like, it doesn't matter. It was a really interesting period. The boys wouldn't come out and stand up for our rights and our freedom yet. As soon as the football matches were back on, they were there. So it's, again, I know it's personal choice and we all do what we need to do, but it's there's so many, the sports have been put in there to distract, which is why I love the fact that there are a few people in the boxing world, for example, who are really, really, really awake, and they're helping us shift it from the inside out.
Yeah, sporting events are just a mass distraction. They're forming a gang of one group of people to be against the other one. It's like, this is my tribe. We're going to go to war with you, and we're going to be better than you. It's very primeval.
And it's that low vibration of competition and comparison. And
you're chanting. The monobrow comes in from Neanderthal. They give them a few beers and they use But they encourage it by building such huge stadiums and overpaying all of these warriors, paying them millions of dollars and turning them into pin-ups for children who want to be like them. Same with the music industry as well.
And then they get them doing really dark things, like I saw a picture of Harry Styles earlier today. Oh my gosh. And it was really disturbing. Like, if I had a little girl that wanted to go and watch him, I would be so disturbed, I don't know who he is. I'll show you a picture. You'll be grossed out too, And like, little girls like that, it's sad. I just think the music industry and everything has come to a place now, that it just needs a big shake-up, needs a big clean-up. Anyway, we've gone off topic. Let's come back to the inner wisdom. So tell me in the chat what is coming online for you, what you're feeling, how are you seeing, like, are you starting to see things out the corner of your eyes, you're seeing movements, are you, getting the psychic downloads, are you getting your intuition coming on point, do you know things that you don't know how you know, but you just know without any question, like, what is it that's happening with you? A lot of ladies that I'm working with at the moment are studying homeopathy because they're remembering how to heal, and they just want that certificate to be able to get the rubber stamp kind of thing. They're remembering the pots and potions that they used to make in past lives or different realms and whatever. So, we're all at it right now. I know stuff that I've got no idea how I know.
I know how you know, but I'm not telling you. I'm telling you the top secret. She's still talking in her sleep. And last night you still were saying a few things, but it's got better. But you're very blessed to have this help from your channel guides. They guide you in that direction.
Well, earlier on we were saying that they weren't helping.
Well, I think they're asking too much because it's 24/7. They want you to do stuff.
I know.
We're trying to calm it down a bit, but also stay 1 foot in the swimming pool, as I would say. But the inner wisdom, I think it's all ancient wisdom. I explained last week, a lot of people say, well, how do I remember my past life wisdom? And remember, I drew that circle where you're standing on the inside looking down the corridors. It's not that you're trying to look back or forward. Bring yourself into the center and imagine that. But you've got to look for the clues, see what you're good at, see what your talents are. You're good at languages, you're good at drawing, good at art, are you good at carpentry, fixing things. All of these are ancient talents that you've had from somewhere else. Then think about your fears. You're scared of heights or water and animals or dogs or cats or falling or dark places. All of these are inner wisdoms that you can take clues on to where you should go next to try and do it. Because often when there's a fear in place, it's blocking the memory coming through, at least into your soul. Your soul knows where it is, and you're trying to get from there to there.
I haven't got distracted, guys. I can see an ancestor pig in the mountain in front of us. Can you see that pig?
The pig.
Like laid head this end. The pig.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's just I can't. I said to David earlier, do you think I'm ever going to be able to drive down a road again and just see a road? Or because I'm like, oh, look at that, look at that, look at that, look at that, look at that ship, look at this. You know, it's like, and I just can't switch it off. Wherever I am, I just can't switch it off at all.
Galactic trauma that affected my current incarnation. That's a good one.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. No one's come up with that before. Drinking and fighting and writing. Is that your plan this weekend, Lizzie?
Nice. Sounds fun. I think I mumbled because I was drifting to sleep and it woke me up. He does that quite often. He'll just like
mumble
some nonsense that I'll hear, and he'll be like, and I'll tell him what he said, and he's like, well, no idea. And then you'll give me some story, won't you? Quite often.
Often it'll go in there. What was the other part of the show? This was inner wisdom.
No, it's activating your inner wisdom. So
how do you activate
I think the point here is what we need to do is acknowledge it and allow it to flow through. Now, as David said a minute ago, like we're actually having a word with my guides at the moment because David thinks I'm being worked a little bit too hard and it's just not switching off. Like I used to have this agreement when I'd go to bed that they'd just leave me alone, and that isn't the case at the moment. So we're kind of working on that. I had a little hissy fit earlier today because a few things happened, and I was like, right, that's it. I'm not going to do any work with you for a few days. And then I got a beautiful message. The little boy that I've been helping for the last few days, who's only 5 days old, they're taking him off of his, tubes and everything. So he's actually pulling through because of the work that we've been doing. So as soon as I say I'm not doing it anymore, they give me some gold like that. And this little lad who, his name's Paolo, it's just beautiful. But sometimes your guides ask too much of you, they really do. So allow the inner wisdom to come through, like acknowledge it, let it come through. If you start to see things then and you're comfortable with it, ask to see more. If you're hearing things, and you're okay with that, like ask to hear more. But just please, please, please be very, very gentle with yourselves on what it is that you're doing. Anybody that came to Soul School, you'll be flying. You got completely unlocked and completely, grounded and allowing the energies to come through. And the source was working through all of you last weekend. So don't be surprised if all of your, audience and everything is coming online cognizant. Don't be surprised by that. But do remember that you can say yes or no at any point that you want to. But the whole point of us coming back together right now and all the starseeds around the world and particularly, the communities that we've got, we are sparking that light in the chain of the light bulb so that we can all come together and raise the wisdom up so that we can shift this mama from where we are into a whole new level of consciousness. I think we should wrap up soon. We've got a whole coach load of kids coming in, guys.
Yeah, they're all like coming back from skiing.
Do you have anything else that you'd like to share on activating your inner wisdom? Because you've done a good job of it recently.
Thanks. Slow down because you'll often miss things.
When did you?
I know. I just think like your immediate reaction to some situations can be volatile. I'm guilty of that, absolutely. If you slow down and think, okay, is this really the right way to deal with whatever the situation is? Just slow down and have a little moment where you're connecting to look for the answer, to seek the answer rather than letting your old self deal with it and snap. That was my parking place, or hey, you just jumped the line. These things that would traditionally trigger you into an aggressive situation. Activate your inner wisdom. Or in the morning, just take a few minutes of grounding. Just take a few minutes to close your eyes, absorb the sun, and ask for a little bit of help from you guys. Okay, where am I going to go today? What's beautiful about today? What's special about today? Because we all get caught up in our lives on 9 to 5, mundane, terminated.
It's not even the mundane stuff. It's just the distractions. Right? Life is a distraction. The people, the toys, everything, the purchases, the material world. Like it's all just one big distraction. And the only way that we can get through that is by recognizing that we are completely distracted. And when we can recognize recognize that we're completely distracted, we need to put a priority order. It's as simple as that. Get a priority list in place, and if something isn't on your priority list, then don't freaking do it, and allow that wisdom to start flowing.
Well said, Lucy. Well said. So
we're going to go because there's a coach load of skiing. There's a load of, it looks like college students or something like that have just come in here. There's a whole coach load though, so we're going to go.
I'll go pay the bill.
You do that, and I'll wrap up. Okay?
See you soon, everybody. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. So basically, what we're saying here is let's just empower ourselves to get back in alignment with our inner wisdom. Like, we have got so much to look forward to, so much to be excited about, and step forward. Guys, I've got to go. It's getting ever so loud in here. I will catch you in the next video super soon. All right. I love you to the moon and stars, and I will see you next week. To those of you in my membership, I will see you at 9 o'clock my time, 8 o'clock UK time. Lots of love, guys. Take care. I'll come back through the comments later on.